entire state to the Golden Gates. This is Quad Radio USA.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with all the dirt from the world of ATV motocross and GNCC racing, here's Mr. 10 Seconds, Rodney Tomlin.
And a good evening to everyone as we welcome you out to Quad Radio and QRL's version of a Two-Wheel Tuesday. It is Tuesday, December 18th, 2012, as we Globecast live here from Quad Radio USA, branching out into our brother sport, the two-wheel side of things, as we do each and every Tuesday here in Quad Radio USA. And tonight we are going to be speaking with none other than the 2010 GNCC motorcycle champ himself, Josh Strang, who had a journey to make it to the United States to put himself in a position to win the championship. And man, has he had a journey since that championship has been won. We'll talk a lot about that and what the 2013 season holds for this former champion who could, hey, you never know, be a two-time GNCC champion by the end of 2013. It's going to be exciting. We'll talk to him in just a few moments, but first we want to say thanks to a couple of folks like our friends over at Impact Solutions, your factory-authorized service center for Elko Suspension at 985 Harris Highway in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Phone them up 304-863-0025. You can also find them on the World Wide Web at impactsolutionsatv.com. Also want to say thanks to our friends at SSI Decals for all the great stickers and everything, and whenever you need graphics for anything, I'm talking anything, they can do it. SSI Graphics and SSI Decals can get it done for you at ssidecals.com. And also thanks to our friends there at Tire Balls, the high-performance flat-proof tire inflation system. You can contact Tire Balls rep Pat at 724-272-2998, or you can email him up there. Just click on the quadradio.com banner there across the top of the website there, and you'll be able to link right directly to his website. We'll be back with more, and that includes Josh Strang in just a moment.
Deemed the most revolutionary aftermarket product in the past 15 years of racing, Tire Balls are being used by top motorcycle and ATV racers around the world. The high-performance run-flat system that works with a multi-cell design that keeps your tires flat-free even when punctured. Developed and tested by 9-time off-road champion Scott Summers and proven by winners across the board, Tire Balls is a product no rider should ever be without. So the next time you hit the trail on a motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side, make sure you got balls. Get all your Tire Ball and Tire Ball accessories today by calling 724-272-2998 or by emailing pat.offroad@gmail.com. Mention Quad Radio and receive an additional 10% off on already great price products. 2013 sponsorship opportunities can be emailed to the same address. Tire Balls. Any terrain, anytime, no flats.
And welcome back to Quad Radio as QRL goes, of course, to none other than, once again, that Two-Wheel Tuesday, that what I think some people in the couch world as the two-wheel guys sometimes call it, over on the motorcycle side of things. Hey, but that's all right. You know, I've gotten some love mail over doing this show, so it's good to get to know some of these guys, and especially guys like this right here, as we say good evening and welcome to one Josh Strang to Quad Radio, my friend. What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. It's bit wet out here in California at the moment, so just having an inside day today, actually.
An inside day, so that's kind of what I've had all weekend, man. I mean, it's been one of those rough weekends. Friday, I was feeling kind of weird on Friday, and then it just escalated, and I ended up with a fever, and my son and myself, my wife, all three, all but my daughter, and we were all sick all weekend, and I'm still lingering on here, and I might ditch out on you here in a few minutes and start talking some crazy stuff. But yeah, it's been an inside day around here too. In a I guess as they always say, to make a long story short. But so California, man, I guess that's where you still are. And what's been going on out in California?
Yeah, I mean California as of right now, but I think as of probably middle of January now, it'll be North Carolina again for 2013. So since I got back from the 6 days in Germany, I kind of been laying pretty low. Haven't done any races or anything, and just trying to figure out what's been going on. I'm recovering from another surgery. Just trying to recover from that, and then trying to figure out what's happening next year. So, I mean, it's been a stressful couple of months, and, I mean, it's still stressful right now, so I'm just trying to figure it all out and get everything rolling.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but I think it's been more than a stressful couple of months for you, Josh. I remember, and I'm not meaning to bring up things, man, and I don't know if you remember it, but I can remember the day there, Loretta Lynn's, when you broke the leg and you were sitting in the semi, and I came in and I asked you, and I looked right in your eye, and I looked at you. I said, "Josh, all right, man." You just gave me this desperation look of, man, I don't know, I just don't know, man. You just looked like everything was ended right there, man, and you were facing a big wall, and it almost seems like when I looked in your eyes, I could see that you were seeing that mountain that you were facing at that point, man, and probably didn't even know. Maybe you did know Suzuki was on their way out at that particular time. You didn't have a contract for next year, all this, that, and the other. But, man, I mean, it's been an uphill struggle since then, it seems like, for you.
Yeah, man, it's I think even if I hadn't broken my leg last November, I'd say it was still going to be a struggle either way. So, I mean, that really started baking the cake there, and then it just kept on going after that. I mean, the Suzuki team pulled the pin a couple of weeks after that, and pretty much like you said, it's been an uphill struggle since then. And I'm actually happy that it's all over, and I feel like I'm back on as far as riding goes and that sort of stuff. I'm back on track to where I was before the accident, anyway. So, I mean, I'm happy about that. I've went out and bought my first motorcycle ever a couple of weeks ago, and I'm having a blast riding that thing, and I feel really comfortable on it. So, I mean, that's a start. Still got a long way to go, but that's a start. I mean, having fun and enjoying the bike that I'm riding, and I feel really comfortable on it. So, I mean, so far, so good.
That's great, man, and a lot of changes for you in those couple of years, or actually, I guess it's only really been theoretically a year, but I mean, it just seems like such a long time ago, even though it wasn't. But I mean, you've gone through a lot of changes, like you said. The Suzuki pulled the plug. You had to rebuild. And you went and you opted, man. I mean, you had a lot of choices, I'm sure, and a lot of avenues you could have taken. Well, it was probably limited. You had one choice, that or go home, I would imagine, go back to Australia. And obviously, you were looking at making your way back to the East Coast to defend and regain, I guess you could say, that GNCC title once again.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I broke my leg, there was, because it was so late in the season and Suzuki pulled the pin, the budgets that any teams had had been eaten up already. So I didn't have a lot of options, and so I moved back and raced Work Series, which, I mean, was good for me because it was on the West Coast and a smaller budget that I had this year, and getting off that injury. I mean, it worked well for me this year. So I mean, I can't complain about that, but yeah, what I really want to get back east and race at GNCC again, and get that number one plate back next year. So, and as far as the options go at the end of this year, obviously I didn't have the best year results-wise in 2012. I feel like I had results that proved I was up to speed and everything, but I mean, the economy hasn't got any better either. So again, there was no offers to where I could make a living paying my bills racing. So I mean, I decided to step away and bring in support and do it myself for at least a year and give it a go. At least have fun doing it and see if I can get something going there.
That's great, and it's the way I understand it, it sounds like you've got some pretty cool things heading this way. Like you said, you bought your first bike ever, and that was, what, a Kawasaki? I seen that on Facebook or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I bought the Kawasaki from John Cycles here in California, and they helped out a lot of off-road guys on the West Coast. I mean, they hooked me up as much as they could, and I appreciated that. But man, I soon found out why the motorcycle or the industry in general is hurting is because I'm guessing ATVs and dirt bikes are so damn expensive. Like I knew they were expensive, but until I actually had to go buy one, yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I've been fortunate enough all my life. My parents owned a motorcycle shop at home, so they'd supplied me bikes. Mum and Dad had bought me bikes up until I left Australia to come to the US. So I was only 18, and they'd bought bikes up until then. And then since then, I've been on a factory team, so I haven't had to purchase any bikes. So I mean, it was a punch in the gut, that's for sure. buying a motorcycle for myself. I mean, some people will probably laugh and say they do it every year, but I mean, it's definitely a step backwards. But I mean, I'm happy I did it, and I bought the Kawasaki to invest in my career and invest in next year. So hopefully it all works out.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I hope it works out too. Now, the question that I've got, did you buy just one bike?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like I was saying, when I got back from Germany, I hadn't done much, and RPM, KTM, and I decided to split ways, so I didn't have a bike to ride anymore. And once I got over the recent surgery I had, I figured I needed to start riding something. So I went out and I tried all the bikes I could that I figured I would want to ride, and Kawasaki was the best one. I felt most comfortable on it straight away. They have a good contingency program, and I've been a Kawasaki person forever. So I rode KX60s when I was 6 years old or something. So I mean, Kawasaki's I've been riding them for a long time, and I felt comfortable straight away. So I mean, that was my decision, and yeah.
Wow, interesting to say the least. I mean, now this with just one bike. I mean, is that what your intent? I'm just curious because you go from basically an endless budget, so to speak. You don't have to worry about breaking this. You don't have to worry about breaking that. To now, whenever you're out practicing, if you're going to be practicing on that bike and racing it also on Sunday, you got to think a whole lot more about what you're going to be doing in between times and testing and tuning and so forth. I would think it changes the field totally.
Yeah, I definitely think about it more now. But I mean, this bike was mainly just to get me back riding again.
Right.
And it was mainly to get me back on. So when I do, I'm still working on deals to get bikes. I'll have more bikes next year, but I just wanted to buy that so I can get ahead of when I get stuff sorted out. So I do get bikes, I'm ready to start testing, and I've already got 2 months under my belt on that bike, so I know what it's going to do as a stock motorcycle. So when I change it all over, the switch isn't going to be as long. So I mean,
right.
I was lucky enough that bike feels a lot like the Suzuki. So I feel a lot better. Like I almost feel like myself again. So I mean, I haven't felt like myself for a long time, and I'm super happy. I'm pumped to go to the track and ride now. So I mean, even just that in itself is worth it, you know.
Yeah, I imagine it has to be, especially for you, Josh. I mean, being so far away from home. I mean, it's not like any decision you make is an easy decision, and every move you make is kind of monumental because I mean, you got all your roots are in Australia, and it's basically. I mean, aren't you the only one here in your family? You're not married or anything yet. You haven't gotten married and brought a wife with you or anything, have you?
No, it's just me. My parents and the family try and come over. I mean, they can't come over together because it's so expensive. So they break it up and come over. Like my sister and my mum and my sister's niece came over about 2 months ago, and and visited for a week. So, I mean, I see him occasionally, and usually at this time of year, I'm back in Australia soaking up the sun and having a good time for Christmas. I usually go home for Christmas, but with all this stuff coming up this year, I just can't go home. So, I mean, this will be my first Christmas in 24 years that I've missed with my family. So, I mean, it's hard sometimes, but I mean, it's good. I talk to them quite a bit, and I do have some really good friends here in the States now. So, I mean, it's not so bad. Right.
You know, it's humbling, and you know, I mean, it's at the same time, man. I mean, to know this backstory, you know, I mean, you look at it from the big picture on the outside, looking in. You know, Josh Strang, you know, he comes over and he's writing these facts. You know, you get this mindset that, you know, that you were some golden child or something, and everything is handed to you on a silver platter. But I mean, what you're doing here, man, being here takes more dedication, doing what you're doing, than probably what most of us as Americans realize, and we get to take advantage of all the time with our situation, with especially here on the East Coast. If you're going to be racing the GNCC, I mean, we don't realize what kind of sacrifices it's worth, man. I mean, you've been here. This is 6 seasons now? You've been coming to the U.S.
Yeah, yes, it's my 6th year. So
there's a lot of sacrifice there, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, at first, I mean, like I said, like now, I'm settled down here in the States, and I mean, I like living here.
Yeah, and realizing you got friends and everything, what's the biggest thing you miss about home?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I left so young. I was 18 when I left, so I wanted to get out of home. I still lived with my parents when I left Australia. So, I mean, I wanted to get out of home. I wanted to race overseas. This is what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I was prepared to do all that stuff. And, I mean, I had good friends like Rodney and Laurie Smith and Jimmy Jarrett, and I mean, Glenn Carney when he lived here. But all those people, like, took me under their wing and helped me. And, I mean, and I made friends with their friends, and I've made friends since. And I think, like, I mean, I miss home, I miss my family, but this is what I want to do. So, like, I mean, and, like, my parents didn't want me to come over at first, I think, because I was still so young. But, like, now I've gone, I think they would have been kicking themselves if they had tried to stop me from going. And, I mean, it's like, I talk to a lot of people here, and some people haven't even left their own state.
Yeah.
And I've traveled across the country, and I love traveling, and I'll go anywhere I can to race a dirt bike. But I mean, that's just who I am, and a lot of Australians are the same way. People always want to go to Australia to travel, but Australians want to travel the world and see everything. And I don't know whether that's just in all our blood or what, but I mean, I miss my family and miss the place I came from, but this is my home now, and I enjoy it. So I can't. I don't look at what I miss so much anymore. I look forward to going home and spending time with my family.
There you go. That's a good thing, man. I mean, and obviously, I mean, it shows the dedication. You know, not just sacrifice, but the dedication that you've chosen and made an example of. I mean, I can't believe. I mean, it blows me away. And I had, you know, I think I might have talked with Jimmy a little bit about this last week, because Jimmy was on Two Wheel Tuesday last week, and we talked a little bit about you, and we talked about people being, you know, we as Americans take it for granted. We don't realize what we got. We grow up, you know, these kids grow up from 60s all the way up through into the XC1 Pro class, and some of them, you know, that's all they know and that's all they do, and, you know, it doesn't mean as much to them because that's where they grew up, and it's easier for them to walk away sometimes because it was so easy. For you, it's not as easy to walk away from because it's something that you wanted so badly in the beginning. You got a taste of, and then it, in a sense, it was kind of taken away and said, if you want it, man, you're going to have to work really hard to get another bite of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the GNCC, and I think GNCC and Wardinger are the highest. I mean, I don't know what I'm looking to say, but both those series are the most prestige, I think, in the off-road racing world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, there's Endurocross and Baja, but those two, GNCC and Wardinger, I think, are the biggest two. I mean, I think I listened to Jimmy's webcast last week, and he said like Nida and Yuha came over, and Watsy from when he was doing Wardinger. And, yeah, I mean, I started doing it. I'd love to race Wardinger, but I chose to come here, and like you said, I don't want to, I can't seem to walk away. So, the people in general are just really good to be around, and I mean, the racing is good. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I guess it's just in my blood, and and I guess I'll just keep coming until I get told to stop. So.
It's what you want, man, and that's what you've set your mind to, and that's cool, man. I mean, that shows what kind of person you are, and to see that you've worked so hard to be able to position yourself to get back, and you say you're going to be back. What do you say? Mid-January, you're coming back?
Yeah, I think I need to come. I'd like to try and stay out here a little bit longer just because the weather's a little nicer and I can do some training, but I really need to get back there and get settled in, so I'm not trying to settle in once the racing starts.
Right.
So, yeah, middle to end of January, I'd say I'll be back.
Okay. Well, that's great. Now, overall, looking back at the work season, big picture there, I know it served its purpose and everything as far as, having a job and everything, but the successes of it, I mean, you said you had another surgery and everything. I assume there was some injuries still associated with this past season?
Yeah, I mean, the work was good this year, and I do really like racing that stuff. It's so much different to a GNCC, and it's something that I've set goals to do that I want to try and win. And this year, unfortunately, I wasn't healthy at the start of the year, and then I had some other problems as far as getting set up towards the end of the year. But it's still something that I want to try and do and race and win some races. And
right.
I think there isn't a lot of people that can race a works race and do good and a GNCC and do
right.
good. And I feel like I'm one of those guys that can do both. I just wish I could prove it in the works a little more. In the future, I hope. But yeah, so, and then I had to have another surgery on my leg where it broke, where they put the rod in. There was a few, just some things that were nagging me a little bit, and the doctors went in and cleaned it up and removed the rod. So it was just follow-up stuff to get it fixed and take that rod out so it wasn't in there, and I'm fully recovered now and feel really good, so.
That's great.
So, I mean, I tried to keep that. I mean, it's done with now, but I tried to keep that on the down low for a while just because I didn't really need people knowing about it.
Exactly.
But everything went fine, and I feel better now than I did, so.
Don't want to leave room for doubt for people. That's for sure, for one thing. I mean, especially when you're talking to potential sponsors and things like that, and any breaking news that you can really share with us as far as how the team is going to be structured for next year?
Not really. I mean, Jimmy's going to be helping me, so I mean, I appreciate that. It looks like he's going to be helping me as long as we can get everything off the ground.
Right,
so,
right.
Him, and then Jason Hoover's been helping me. He's going to do some media stuff, and we're going to try some new stuff as far as their sports go. And he's going to be helping me there with that sort of stuff. And but other than that, man, not a whole lot yet. So I mean, we've got verbal agreements on stuff, but until there's ink on the paper, I don't really want to want to say anything in case it falls through. So, but the plan is to be racing Kawasaki's. I mean, even that could change between now and Florida. So I mean, I feel the most comfortable on that bike, and I feel I can go to Florida and start winning straight away on that thing. So that's why I chose that bike. But I mean, if something comes up and I have to change, then we could be changing. So, but yeah, right now, I mean, I got Moose and City. They're supporting me again, which I appreciate. And Max's Tires has actually offered to help out again next year. So I mean, I started the relationship with them in 2012, and we're going to continue that. So I mean, that'll be good. And then hopefully got some cool things. Definitely some cool things in the works. We just need to get it all finalized, and hopefully have something out, press release sometime soon. I mean, rather sooner than later, but I mean, Christmas is coming up, and everyone seems to go on holidays and cycle off over the next 2 weeks. So definitely won't be until the new year anyway.
Right. Well, I wish you good luck on all that, and I hope that it all pans out. I know it's touch and go, and it's probably been a pretty big learning curve for you to become not only the rider but now a businessman as well.
Yes, it's definitely a steep learning curve. I mean, and like I said, I've met some really good people over the years, and even from the Suzuki days, I'm still all good friends with those guys. So, I mean, they were in GNCC for 20-something years, I think. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they know a lot of people and know what's going on. So I talk to them frequently, and they help me out. And then it's like even Jimmy's been around forever. So I mean, it all helps. The more people that you can get on your side and willing to help, then the better it is. And I feel like I've got some good people helping, and I honestly feel like I can be winning races again like I was in 2010. So that's my plan so far.
I believe it's going to be happening, man. I mean, you paid attention to this year's GNCC drama, I'm sure, the way it all broke down. I mean, it was a pretty good championship battle there between Wibbs and Caleb Russell. Charlie was in the mix of things there for a while. Rory reared his head there about midway through the season and started showing some pretty cool things. I mean, we had a really interesting 2012 season. And I think adding you into the mix of things, that's going to only excite things even more, man.
Yeah, this year was. I mean, I wish I was racing this year, but unfortunately I couldn't. But yeah, that was I think a lot more guys this year that were contending for wins each weekend. So I mean, Caleb and Paul won the majority of them, but and Thad won some, and like you said, Rory won some, and Charlie also. So I mean, there's a lot of guys there. I hope we can keep the numbers up on the pro row.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, like everything.
Yeah.
Times are tough right now, and some people just can't afford to go racing anymore. So hopefully we have a good amount of riders on the front row, and can definitely be interesting here. That's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, if last season was any indication that things are looking okay for us, we achieved, I think, the second highest season that we've had in numbers in the 40-year history of the GNCC itself. And, that's even, the highest was like in 2007 during the boom just before the bust. And here we are already nearing those 2007 numbers. I think that from one standpoint, things are looking pretty good, but I'm with you on that front row thing, man. It gets a little more expensive, the race up there. It's a lot tougher, and guys start getting weeded out whenever it comes to going up to that front row. Yeah,
no, I hope so. I mean, I follow the GNCC every weekend, and I even follow the quads. I mean, not as much as bikes, obviously, but I like following the quads and watching the results and seeing if anyone can beat Barry and that sort of stuff. So I mean, it's interesting, and yeah, it's cool to see how many people still go racing each weekend at the GNCCs, and I think it's the best value for money for amateurs and pros. I mean, the motorcycle procross gets TV and I mean exploded in magazines and all that sort of stuff and on the internet. So I mean it's definitely good. We just need people to start buying motorcycles again.
Yeah.
So the OEMs will kick back some money to the pro riders and they can keep racing. So
Yeah.
I think it all works. They all work together. Like the pro riders gather interest from people reading the magazines and watching TV and that sort of stuff, and then the amateur guys are the people that bring in the money and spend their dollars on new tires and new riding gear and new dirt bikes and that sort of stuff. So it's all got to work together, I think, and hopefully it does and can turn around. I think the series is amazing, and I just hope it can keep going.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's going to be much problem there. I mean, always looking to go do bigger and better things, and I know that's what, Dave Coombs, that's, he was always striving to do more and more and more, and that's what the GNCC, I'm sure, was always going to do, just like you, man. I mean, that's what's really neat, because when Dave conceived this whole thing, it was for guys like you with heart, with desire, with hunger, with passion, and with the grit to go out and make things happen. And I think you're one of those guys, Josh. And, as much respect as I had for you, and I know that it sounds like I'm blowing sunshine up your butt, but I'm not, man. I'm just telling you the truth, man. I always liked you. I always thought you were a Class A dude, but just knowing what you've had to go through and what you're about to go through just to keep that dream alive, just raises you another notch or two on my respect level there, man, and I admire you for that, and I wish you all the luck in the world, man, because I know, like we said, a lot of mountains you've climbed, but there's still more to climb, and I think that you're getting pretty good at it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, and hopefully I get this deal together, and I can come back on Quad Radio and do another two-wheel Tuesday for you guys and give you some more info as soon as I get it.
That would be great, man. We would love to have that. And tell Jason Hooper over there at Digital Off-Road if he wants to link this interview up to try to get you some more interest and things like that. He's more than welcome to do so. And we just love having you guys on board with us tonight, man. And I hope that, like I said, I just hope everything goes well for you. And any parting shots, anything that you want to pass along to those out there listening that we may not have touched on tonight?
I mean, Santa Claus is just around the corner, so I mean, I guess I got to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and have a good week, and then Happy New Year, and to all the GNCC fans, I'll see you all in the River Ranch in March, right?
That's it, March.
Yeah, until I sort anything out, that's all I got to say, really.
All righty.
Thanks to all the fans for listening.
Man, I tell you, we thank you for the passion and the desire that you show and the life that you spark into our Grand National Cross Country Championship Series. Josh Strang, we will talk to you hopefully soon after the first of the year with some big news, brother.
Sounds good.
That is Josh Strang. This is QRL's Two Wheel Tuesday. I'm Rodney Tomlin. Thanks for listening. All righty, man.